everybody, it's Meg, and Manifesting with Meg in their third episode, and tonight I have the fabulous Fran Phillips here to join me. So anyway, as you all know, this is all about manifesting, and tonight our theme is going to be about self-love, shiny shoes, because who couldn't manifest enough shiny shoes in this world, and butterflies, because I love butterflies. The whole idea around butterflies being the metamorphosis and change and how we all transform in our lives, awesomeness. So to begin, I do want to introduce Fran. And it couldn't be more perfect because this woman is shiny shoes, and this woman totally manifests shiny shoes and all things shiny. So I had to wear my shiny glasses and my shiny tiara, and obviously she's joined with her beautiful, beautiful look as well. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Fran?
Right here.
I've been
shiny shoes. So as Meg said, my name is Francisca Phillips, or Fran. You can call me Fran. As long as you can call me Hey You can call me whatever you want. I'm originally from Chile, the longest and skinniest country in the whole world. And I have 2 children. If you count my husband and the dog, that would be 4. The hairy, smelly one. That's not the dog, no.
There you go. We're all being honest tonight.
And I've been friends with Meg for a few years. Here I am. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm
so happy you're here, and hopefully some of our mutual friends are out there in the Facebook world and they're going to join us tonight. Like I see Josie, and I say hi to Rafa, my brother is on the line from Colombia. I'm so excited that you're joining us, and Denise and Andrew and Tracy. So tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about love, and what better time than February, which is the month of love in my book, The Magical Guide to Bliss. There's such a glare. Sorry about that, guys. But the most important thing I think about this week is Valentine's and all the connotations that come with it, good, bad, or indifferent. So we kind of wanted to make Valentine's even better for those who really enjoy celebrating Valentine's Day, and for those who really can't stand it, which Fran will tell you about that, make it a holiday where it becomes about your particular day to actually start loving yourself a little bit more, and then switching that into something that's all about, you know, the pause and love movement of Love Button Global Movement, Give Love Project, give love to somebody else, and actually you serve yourself in the end. Yes, we have our button. Well, wrong one. We have our buttons on tonight, and you know, just stop short and actually take a moment to really appreciate and love the life that we all have, because I think that when we do that, we become very mindful, and that becomes the process of manifesting. It actually flows so much better from that place. So Fran, tell us why you do or do not like Valentine's Day.
Well, let's start by saying I think it's extremely commercial.
Okay.
Already cards that they sell out in the stores or whatever are like $6. You read them, you put them away, and that's it.
Right.
They jack up the prices during Valentine's Day.
She doesn't like it.
All the chocolates and all the balloons and the flowers. I don't like flowers, so then eventually they die. So I like to buy my own flowers.
Okay.
So I've told my husband, like, he loves to celebrate, but that's the thing. He celebrates me, and I have to be super honest every single day. So
well, tell the story about what happened on your first Valentine's Day together, which is
it's not the first one, but we moved from Texas over here to Florida after a couple of years that we had lived there for 5 years. And it was always Valentine's Day and gifts and balloons and everything. And then that Valentine's Day, I get a T-shirt. I'm like, yeah, a T-shirt. And it was actually something that Darren had gotten after he donated blood. And he was like, thank you for your blood, or thank you for your donation, or something like that. That was my Valentine's Day gift. So from then on, I said, you know what? I don't like Valentine's Day.
There you go.
It's like you're just worried about scrambling for a card or for flowers or chocolates. And you need to love each other every single day.
Yeah.
But as you said, I love it. You have to start by loving yourself.
Right.
For sure.
So even though his intentions probably were really good,
I'm sure.
You know, the whole idea about, you know, expectations and not really actually fulfilling your expectations by virtue of the other person having to deliver something to you that symbolizes love, whatever that can mean. And then a whole day, you know, where other people are getting, you know, like they're walking around with their flowers as if they're like the prom queen and king, and you know, they're going to be
everywhere is full, and people are yelling because they're not getting their tables and reservations, like the Mother's Day, Father's Day.
Oh my God. I think you might make this festive as Valentine's Day all of a sudden. But yeah, well, I actually remember being in high school and even, you know, elementary school where they used to have those carnations, and people would sign up and they, like, for $1 buy a carnation for a person, and you kind of like sat there in the room while everybody was delivering the flowers to everybody else, and your name was never called, and you're just like, oh my God. And then maybe someone called because your parents actually bought you one to actually send it to you for that night. bad memories, but I can totally understand why some people don't wrap their minds around.
Yeah.
Valentine's.
Even at school, I mean, in Chile, you don't have the Valentine's Day thing that all the kids have to bring in the little cards and everything.
You don't have it. No.
That does not exist.
No.
Which is pretty good, because over here, if you don't get one, how depressing is that?
Well, the coolest thing they do nowadays is that everybody actually gets a Valentine's, and at least in elementary school,
everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy here. There you go. I guess on Valentine's Day, I think the bottom line, and that's really important, is that if it comes from a place of love.
Yes.
So tonight, when I had thought of the idea of having Fran with me, and I picked her specifically because she really personifies self-love and does bring that into most aspects of her life. And you can tell that if you do follow her on Instagram or even Facebook for that matter, she's always pointing out all the highlights in the world and all the good things that are going on and all the different emojis that say congratulations on you being a badass, or just kind of like inspirationally supportive. And just the whole idea is that she's giving love. And I think that you're a manager for Royal Caribbean, and you deal with diversity and the whole engagement of the different people. And your company, from what I understand, has an incredibly high satisfaction rating for the employees. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that and what your concept is when you bring that particular role to the fore.
So I'm extremely lucky to work, first of all, for a really good company, and second of all, I've always had a career within HR, but it's the fun part of HR. I always say that.
Why, is there no fun part in HR?
Yeah, if people see me coming, they're like, HR. No, they're like, yay, HR. Yeah. So I've been in recognition, performance and rewards. So it's always like the positive thing, kind of like the cheerleader.
Right.
And I've surrounded myself with really good people as well. Like we have somebody that has been in the company for over 40-something years. And every time that you look at Linda, it's like, oh my God, she's coming. There's something for good news. So that's why it's been pretty good. And then again, it's like you say, we spend so much time at work. You need to love each other, and it doesn't mean that it's like love. No, but it's like,
I'm not advocating that because people are getting in a lot of trouble lately when there's inappropriate love. So don't go there. But yes, there is appropriate style. Yes, we can follow.
It's just listening to people, supporting each other, giving them ideas. Don't hold any information. If you know that there's a job opening for somebody else, why don't you go ahead and help somebody? I mean, every single day you can show this effort for somebody else,
Right, and if we want to manifest a life that is more full of love in general, then what better place to bring it than in our job is to do that for other people. And it sounds like that's the kind of tenet or the kind of approach that you're taking, from what I understand.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you ask my son, he would say that I'm a lot nicer at work than at home.
Oh, well. I think that they're all here in my house, like 15 minutes even before this thing started, when I'm locking people into rooms and telling and threatening them not to come out, they would really question whether or not I am even remotely able to actually have this conversation tonight. So, yeah. I think we had a toast a couple times with Aussie, so cheers, everybody. We're in love. Now, that being said, I did do a bit of research for this, and I did look up Webster's definition of love. And basically what I came up with was a strong affection for another, arising out of kinship or personal ties. Maternal love for a child is one. Attraction based on sexual desire, which, we'll go into that maybe. I don't know. Affection, tenderness felt by lovers, certainly the romantic love, that kind. All affection based on admiration, someone who looks up to someone else who inspires them, and they have common interests. And then, affection, and certainly warm attachment, enthusiasm, or devotion. These are all definitions of love. But I do remember one thing that my mother used to say all the time, and that love is a decision. It's really an action. It's an action verb. And it doesn't, normally some people don't actually contemplate that in the grand scheme of things, it actually being a decision. Imagine like you hate somebody and you make a decision. But I can tell you this, from my understanding, and then you can share with us yours as well. Have you ever had any kind of relationships, in the workplace, or even where, the person just grinds you bad, but you start to shift your energy toward them, and then the relationship follows suit, and then there's a different affection as well?
Definitely. It takes me a little bit. No. Counting up to 10.
Is it after or before you give them a tiara so they can join your party and they think you're absolutely crazy, right?
But you're totally right. I mean, it's a choice. Of course, it's a feeling. You feel love for other people and for situations. But when it is at work, or when it's really anywhere, even where somebody like cuts you in line or anything like that, just make a conscious decision to really put yourself in that situation. And of course, it's harder, you know, to actually do it. But you just think
Depends
about
how zen you are and what day of the week it is.
That person, and I always say, like, if somebody cuts me off, maybe they really need to go to the bathroom.
Well, this is Miami, so we do take a lot of deep breaths out there, so we do not, in fact, hurt each other on the highways. But, you know, I was going to ask you something with regard to the fact about self-love. And, you know, when I think about self-love, I think about you and your shiny shoes. And the coolest thing about your shiny shoes is that you truly embrace that concept, but that name was actually a nickname given to you, correct?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the story behind that.
Well, we had a leader within our HR organization, and the first time that he called me in for a meeting, I was wearing these really loud pink shoes, like really, really neon pink. And he said, what color is that, before even the meeting started? And I said, I don't know, loud. And after that, I just got my nickname of Shiny Shoes. I've always liked shoes, always. And always, like, the funkier, the better. Always.
And you always have liked fashion, too. You're always on the edge of whatever cool things are out there, right?
Yeah, and like my mom always told me, like, people don't pay your bills, so what do you care what they think about?
There you go. There you go.
If they don't pay your bills, like, I really don't care. So, but that's how it started. And then I started, it's kind of like a brand, I guess, because people would not know my name, but they would know, like, what, you know, the Shiny Shoes person would do. And then I started collecting shoes, and I called it, like, the Shiny Shoes Project, which is heels with a purpose.
There you go.
So I started collecting tennis shoes or any gently worn shoes, and then just donating them to different women's
So you took a name that was, like, basically you attracted to yourself, because that's something that gives you joy. Obviously, you're wearing shiny shoes tonight. And then you make something significant service out of it, correct?
Yeah. That's
amazing. So let me ask you this. As far as you showing up that way, do you feel that is a display or a certain mission, that you have a vision for your life and then what is that vision centered around?
I don't know. Maybe it's the age, but
what does that mean?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
Like, so
you mean that you're so enlightened and refined now that, you know, forget it. You're so mature.
So for a while, I mean, with my husband, we always do, like, work, and we volunteer, and we try to instill that in our kids as well. But there's always something, like, there has to be something more in life, right? Not just, like, enjoying and having a beautiful home and good work and whatever.
Yeah.
And it started, like, I think it was two years ago when I turned 40. So yeah, I'm 42. Look great.
I mean, you're wearing a tear for us. Like, how could you not look great? For sure.
But I forgot what I was saying. But basically, yeah, it is, like, just always finding something else. If you are not caring really for somebody else, what is there in life?
No,
like, truly caring and helping other people.
I totally agree with you there. But I also think that you actually, the way, in fact, you present yourself and how you basically embraced this beautiful image that you show to the world is an act of self-love for yourself, correct?
Yeah. I mean, you want to inspire other people, right? You don't do it in order for other people just to look at you. But in the morning, I literally, if I feel down, I go in the mirror and I look at myself, I'm like, hey, you look pretty good. Yeah.
There you go.
I did talk to myself a lot in the mirror.
Well, you know, it's interesting because when you do mirror work, it's good because a lot of people say, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to love myself? You know, where am I going to start? My life is crappy. Everything about it is crappy. Where am I going with this, that, or the other? And then Valentine rolls around. It's like adding insult to injury. You just, like, throw the salt on any wounds, because then you look around and then you see people, you know. So that's why we're saying, you know, on Valentine's Day should be the national holiday of self-love, because that is when you take it back. And I think that when you take it back, it becomes the thing upon which you build the rest of your life as well, because when you do love yourself, I think you soften to the world. Yeah. Do you experience that as well?
Oh, definitely. No, and what people say too, you cannot depend on others to be happy. You cannot depend on others to have love.
Right.
I mean, you have to separate. Of course, everybody wants a partner and be able to share and everything. But I was telling you earlier before the podcast started that I had heard these Galentines, which I had no clue what it was.
Galentine. So has anyone out there heard of Galentines? And if you do, you can put it in the comments, because we just found out.
I just Googled it.
Okay, so she's going to tell us
and
all
about it.
And
it was a Valentine's Day alternative celebrated on February 13th, so we're celebrating one day before. That's all about female friendship. So it's like badass women getting together and caring for each other, supporting each other, and that's every single day.
I wonder what they would call badass men getting together. And is there you think that they're a bad time? I don't have a clue what that would be. Bro-a-times. There you go. Bro-a-times. Because it's okay, you know.
But it is funny to your point, though. It's like, okay, guys do support each other a lot.
Yes.
And they are there for each other. And maybe not like with the, you know, oh, what happened to you today or anything. But if somebody needs a job, if I need for you to vouch for me, men are there for each other.
And do you not find that with women as much?
No, not that much.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, there are people that are like that, but I guess that it's because there's not that many positions for women that we tend to compete a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if there was issues. Oh, look, we have 2 pontifications here by Javi. That's lovely. That's awesome. You know, interestingly enough, I think that's to your point. The idea between competition and collaboration, and then where I guess the whole idea of like self-love, because insecure people will hurt other people, right? But when you're secure in yourself and you believe in your potential and what you're able to do in this world, then you know, then it's more along the lines of like, oh, I see talent in you. Let me see what I find for you, and I can bring you along with me. So when I experience love for myself, then I turn around and I am so much better equipped to actually share it with other people, and then make a difference, and the world becomes a better place. So I'm curious to that point, you know, they say hurt people, you know, what is something that you would think about, especially in management, because you deal with people on a daily basis, that would actually help shift that kind of mentality in the workplace, if you could. Like,
well, what I always say, empowered women empower women.
Wow, that's awesome. But you've been working with that concept for the last, I would say, over a year now, correct?
Yes. So I was lucky because I discovered all these like women movement. Well, I've always been, you know, like, women, whatever. We need to help each other, you know, sisterhood and the tribe and everything, because I've always had you guys. You know, my men's group and my friends in school and back in Chile, the whole thing. But now that I started with the work with DNI within my office, I've discovered the linen circles and
explain to everyone what that is, because I did not know that actually existed until you told me all about it.
Well, a big shout out to all the linen women that I actually met last year at the linen conference in California. And it was just amazing to see all these women just full of energy and power and wanting to give you ideas, and you can do this and you can do that. It's like a lot of support that I knew existed, but I didn't know that it was like that organized. You put a word or a question out there, and immediately like thousands of women just come up to your aid to see, hey, maybe you can negotiate this better, or maybe you can, you know, you can go to this other role or this other career for advice, for anything. And it's just like small circles that happen. Normally they get started at work, but they could happen anywhere. And actually here in Miami, if you go to the Linen Circles page, there's a lot of circles around Miami. There's a South Miami one, there's a Miami one, there's Fort Lauderdale, there's like everywhere. And it's a very, very good resource for a lot of women that maybe they just moved to Miami. They're not very well connected. So yeah, and if you want, join ours, which is called Women in Cruising.
Women in Cruising. Well, everyone likes a good cruise too. Yeah. So hey, she's inviting you to join Women in Cruising. I don't know if you could pass that kind of invitation. I certainly am going to be thinking about it.
Do a women's cruise.
You know what? I have to tell you. So you know, I love the idea of women supporting women, and I, you know, even when I was working in the federal government, you know, you don't necessarily see that, and it's curious as to why that's the case. In fact, I don't know if it's more competitive. I don't know whether just because of the nature of the beast that I was surrounded by so many attorneys that everybody wants to get to the point of their, you know, the highest point of the ladder, and then maybe turn around and help who they find to be worthy of that, or the other. And certainly, I do see a different kind of dynamic in there. So when you hear something about lean-in circles, you're like, wow. And actually, you know, it's funny because Katrina Pavlik-Keaton she just joined the group, and she was one of my mentors with ICE. And I was so grateful to her because she was at a high level in the government, and she actually took me under her wing and showed me a lot of ways to navigate the agency that I had no idea about, because nobody seems to be in that capacity generally, at least with regard to if they're, you know, competing against each other like that. So is something that is that something that you take into your own particular job and make that a priority as far as your performance evaluation and things like that?
Yeah. a lot of the times what I found out a lot too is that it starts from us. Like we think that the other woman doesn't like me, or they looked at me differently.
Right.
Or, I mean, I'm talking about me personally.
Oh,
sometimes I'm like, oh, that person, I'm like trying to make eye contact.
Yeah.
I told you the other day that happened, and maybe that person had just not seen me, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of times it takes us to take a step back and say, okay, hold on, why don't I approach that person? That person may not seem approachable, but at the end of the day, we're all in this together, you know?
Well, I know also that you work with a lot of younger kids too. I saw that last week you were working on a project with a school.
Oh,
Miami Dade. That I saw that you were there too. And then I think that and you know, I am going tomorrow night to a Made to Love it's called Made to Love event over at Ball and Chain, and a lot of these women, just like yourself, are looking to really empower kids at the younger ages so they can actually stand in their confidence. So when they become, you know, around our age in the industry and professional status, then they're going to be able to turn around and from a confident place, a place of secure, a place of self-love, actually do their job in a different way that makes a difference on so many levels. I don't know what kind of experience you had at that particular function that you were at. Why don't you share a little bit about that if you can?
So what it was is that the multicultural group from Royal, they went ahead and hosted a group of kids from Miami-Dade county schools. And they came over to our offices and they learned about our cruising industry. And then after everybody spoke from different departments, they needed to come up with ideas on how to make things better within guest satisfaction or more eco-friendly ships and things like that. And then 10 schools presented to us, and I was there with 3 other coworkers, and we had to judge. And it was great because some of these groups, let's say if there was a man in the group, they were the ones normally leading.
Oh, really?
Right?
Really?
Except for one group, which actually was the women. There was 3 women, three young women, and they presented, and they were like so confident, and I'm like, yes. I mean, nothing against the boys, but the boys normally have like maybe that self-confidence, maybe from the parents to say, you're a boy, you can go do it, whatever. And a lot of times just women lack that, maybe just from, I don't know, maybe they don't have that mentor, they don't have that sponsor, and you know what we need to do for each other.
Interestingly enough, throughout my career with the federal government, I made it a point to find many individuals to mentor, and I had the distinct privilege and opportunity to do so because I was able to hire a lot of legal interns and had amazing, incredible experiences teaching them and, you know, helping them become on a professional level all who they could be. And also then at a personal level, I made sure that they knew that you can't be bipolar in this world. You have to show up how you're going to show up, as authentic as you could possibly be, especially because you can't keep up that pace where you're not balanced like that. But the reason I'm saying this is that mentoring, or not even mentoring so much, but as like taking someone under your wing and actually imparting the knowledge that you had that you didn't have initially to another person makes such a difference. Yeah. And because they're individuals who have more, like I said, more knowledge and they're more confidence, then they can turn around and do it to others, which is my great hope for the future as far as who anyone actually comes into contact with. And I don't know whether that's something that you contemplate as well when you're doing, even though you said that there's a mentoring walk coming up as well.
Yes,
that you're involved in.
So that's another one. If any of you want to still sign up, I think it's until February 15th. Just go to vitalvoices.com. And they do a mentorship walk. This is the 2nd or 3rd year that they're going to do it. And you can sign up as a mentor or as a mentee. So wherever you are in your career, you can be a mentor or a mentee. Sometimes I feel like a mentee. Sometimes I feel like a mentor. It depends. But it's a great initiative because last year I got paired to a beautiful lady. Her name was Valentina, and she actually worked for Lantile, which is one of my companies when I was younger, when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
And we just walked on the beach. It was in Miami Beach, I think it was. I can't remember. But we walked on the beach and we just talked about it. You know, like what are her career plans? What are my career plans? She helped me out. A lot of things that I did not know. A lot of things she didn't know. And we help each other. And we've not stayed as connected as I wanted to, but definitely it's a very good opportunity. But what I was going to say is that I heard it in one of these, so the women's group from Royal, they started this power series, women power series talks. And it's like once every quarter or so. And they have different leaders from around the company, and they come and talk to us about some of the things, what are their challenges and things like that. And I remember the senior vice president of sales, she said, don't look only for mentors, but have an advisory board.
Oh, interesting.
So you talk to some people for some things, you talk to some people for others. Like I always go to my mom and my dad whenever I have a question and say, Ma, what should I do? Or Dad, what should I do? But then I may go even to my boss sometimes to ask about some career advice. I come to you for, like magical, like empowerment and energy and everything.
Absolutely.
So have different people for different purposes. And at the end of the day, they are your advisory board.
Well, the coolest thing in the world, I think, is when you actually think about your life as you being obviously the center of your life and then surrounded by a team. And, your strengths are going to be your strengths, but there's other things that you also have weaknesses in that other people who have the knowledge can actually come to the fore and actually be that strength, so that you pair up with these people, and then you basically become this force because of what you can bring to the table and what I can bring to the table and another person, so that it's kind of like, and I find, honestly, I think that when it goes back to self-love, so generally people who are insecure will not go out of themselves, but when you see someone like that, when you are feeling, that love, starting from you, that's where the love is a decision and an action, because then you can reach out to another person to bring them into the fold, and then God only knows what kind of talents and sources that they can become, and that they become, and they develop and develop. And I know that in your history, because I know you very well, that's something that you've done in the Emmaus groups, as well as all different areas as far as your work professional. Why don't you share a little bit about that as well?
Well, I think it brings it back to our intentions, right?
Right,
when
exactly.
We started, I always am asking to say the right thing at the right moment, so that way the right person just grabs whatever it is that they needed in that moment. So nice. And it's not just looking for people that just may be shy or anything, but anybody. I mean, you never know. Even the most powerful person out there, you may have something like an encouraging word or just a smile. Maybe they just intimidate everybody and nobody smiles at them. Yeah. So when I'm the crazy one at work that gets into the elevator, I'm like, hi, how you doing? Hello. Yeah. And sometimes these executives are like, okay, hello. But that's how they get to know you. And awesome. I'd rather be known as the crazy one rather than the one that doesn't smile.
And the cool thing at the end of the day is that we become butterflies. Because we can actually embrace someone who starts off as a caterpillar turning into the cocoon, actually, and then allowing that time to develop, you become the butterfly. So everyone, when they actually feel the ability that they can to fly, and you're part of that process through the act of love or kindness or whatever else you want to share with that, then that becomes the beauty, and you get to share that the person is adding more amazing to the world.
And the beautiful story about the butterfly is that the butterfly has to struggle trying to get out of that cocoon. Right. Otherwise, it won't ever be able to fly.
That's right.
I mean, I always remember that part of the story when we are in the Emmaus retreat. But it's true. You have to go through those struggles sometimes, and I know sometimes you're like, why?
Oh my God.
But and I know it's hard when you're going through something super hard to say, hey, this is for a good reason. But there's always something. Give yourself, like Darren always says, my husband always says, give yourself time to pout. It's okay. Get out your funk rather quickly. Mm. But you have that time to go, and then you'll figure it out. That's why it happened.
And the cool thing is that everything's a process too. Mm-hmm. So you have to allow the process.
Yep.
So talking about intentions that we said at the outset. So at the end, this is the third time we're doing. We're going to have you pick a number since you're my guest. And hopefully your number will match your intention that you set out today. And it's going to be accorded to the page in my book. And then I'm going to have you read from the page of my book.
Perfect.
So what it is. So what number do you choose tonight on this night of stuff? 9. Okay, you already knew it. Oh, okay, even better. It's not February 9th, is it?
No.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, we need a bigger battle.
And my license plate is shiny 9.
There you go. So 9 actually corresponds to, I was going to say that's pretty interesting. Oh, this is beautiful. So 9 corresponds to this insight in my book, The Magical Guide to Bliss. And go ahead, Fran, read away.
Until you breathe your last breath, it is always too early to quit. It's always too early to quit. Ever wonder what you're meant to do with your life? What will allow you to make a difference? Leaving this world better for having known the beauty that is you? Each person has a specific mission on this journey. When each person makes it his or her goal to live out that mission, we're all blessed. Mm-hmm. As each of your, sorry.
You gotta
these are not my list.
Yeah, you gotta roll it down.
As each of you delves into your own magical mystery, Always be true to yourself, no matter what. That is so important. No matter what people say, always be true to yourself.
And that's the basis of self-love right there. Right there. Yes.
Each of you must honor the music of your soul to discover what you really are all about. You must honor your intuition and not be distracted by others' expectations and demands. Keep your focus on the dream in your heart. Only you can make the best decisions for your future. As you continue to learn who you are by virtue of life's unique lessons, you become perfectly in tune with the beat of your heart. As you approach goals that clarify your purpose, synchronicity abounds, and the gifts you need on the journey will magically appear. Appreciate these gifts when they appear. See each stage of the journey as an opportunity to learn. Make a conscious choice to stay the course. Until you breathe your last breath, even in the face of adversity, it is too early to quit pursuing the discovery of who you are and what you can become. Remember, the very moment you decide to quit could be the moment you realize the greatest success. Are you prepared to face such an enormous risk?
And then what's our magical key for this evening?
Visualize the amazing things you will do in your life.
So I want you to all actually contemplate those words that she said. That was beautiful. And hopefully this conversation tonight inspired someone out there to either, from a place of love, go out and, wake someone up with a hug, smile, kiss, whatever kindness that's appropriate on Valentine's Day. And start that day, or even start today, and try to be, and show as best you can being your authentic self, because that certainly is the beginning of the journey, is when you actually embrace who you are and the energy of you on this earth. And certainly, I think that both of us, after some, you said you're how many years old, it doesn't matter. But the best gift you can actually give to yourself is showing up as yourself, in line with your intuition, in line with your gut, in line with your heart. So I think that's beautiful. And then the fact that you're going to go out and visualize amazing things that you'll do in your life, will better serve everyone, for that matter, and actually manifest the life that you always wanted and you always dreamed. So I want to once again thank Fran for sharing me this wonderful evening of self-love. Shiny shoes. Want to show them again? There you go. Shiny shoes.
Shiny shoes.
There you go. There you go. And of course, shiny tiara.
And live in your own reality, please.
Live in your, and with the unicorns. And also, ultimately, become the most beautiful butterfly you can actually be, or whatever totem animal you want to embrace. And my friend Katrina sets out to leave a legacy. You must live a legacy, which is awesome, because what you do on a daily basis is the legacy you will leave for the people who watch you, and they're looking up to you and they're inspired by you. And certainly by showing up as the most authentic you, that's the best legacy that you can actually leave for someone else. It's a gift, and this life is a gift. And I hope that you all have an amazing Valentine's Day.
Yes.
I hope that you share with us what you intend to do on this day of self-love. If you want, and I see you, I'll be basically giving out love buttons that day. So it's kind of like my way of passing on the love, and away we go. So you want to add anything else?
No, just always leave this world a little bit better than you found it.
What a beautiful legacy that would be, right? Yeah. So good night, everybody. I thank you for joining us on episode 3, and look forward to the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, absolutely.
Valentine's, friends.
Whatever time you want to. Whatever. I mean, for God's sake, the holiday is based on a martyr. So you know what? Let's not be the martyr. Let's have, exactly. Right. All right. We love you all. Have a good evening. Bye.